Good evening. We interrupt your program with breaking news from the Pacific. Japan has just launched a state-of-the-art aircraft carrier, sending shockwaves across Asia and the world. These words echoed on screens from Tokyo to Washington, Beijing to Taipei. People could hardly believe it. Just decades ago, Japan's military rise was unthinkable. Now, news anchors in China spoke with urgency. Social media in the region exploded with questions and concern. Was this a new era in Pacific power? Analysts immediately began to explain what this meant. For years, the Pacific's balance was set by the United States and China. Suddenly, a third player had entered the game, one with deep pockets, advanced technology, and powerful allies. The tension was almost electric. A sense of uncertainty hung in the air. Would this move make the Pacific safer or push it closer to conflict? Tonight, the world watched Japan's carrier and waited for answers. Japan named its new carrier Kaga, a nod to its history, but with eyes set firmly on the future. The launch was more than a simple military event, it was a statement. Japan, once bound by post-war limits, had just broken free. China's reaction was immediate and strong. News in Beijing described the launch as provocative. Officials warned of destabilizing actions. But inside military circles, the talk was different. There was respect and worry. Japan's new ship could carry advanced stealth jets and operate far from home. The United States welcomed the move. For Washington, Japan's carrier meant a stronger ally and another deterrent against China's growing navy. In capitals like Canberra, Seoul, and Manila, the response was mixed. Some felt safer, others worried about getting caught between giants. The reality was clear. Japan's new carrier had changed the Pacific overnight. Old rules no longer applied. Every nation along the Pacific Rim was now recalculating its options. The Pacific has long been a chessboard for China and the United States. But this new carrier made it clear. The game now had another major player. Japan's move rippled far beyond just Beijing and Washington. Countries like Australia, South Korea, and the Philippines closely watched the unfolding events. Each nation has its own security concerns and historical memories. For some, Japan's military revival reopens old wounds. For others, it brings new hope against bullying neighbors. Vietnam and Indonesia, wary of China's claims in the South China Sea, quietly welcomed Japan's move. But smaller Pacific nations wondered if they would be safer or if new rivalries would put them at risk. The balance of power was shifting, and everyone knew it. Japan's carrier was not just a ship, it was a signal. The Pacific security puzzle had gained a new piece, one that would force every player to rethink its strategy, alliances, and future. Nowhere is the new uncertainty felt more sharply than in Taiwan. The tiny island has long lived under the shadow of China's claim and military threat. The United States has pledged to help defend it. But Taiwan's fate is tied to much more than just these two giants. Japan's new carrier changes the picture. If conflict ever breaks out, Japan could help defend Taiwan's sea lanes. This worries Beijing, but reassures Taipei. Yet Taiwan is not just a pawn. It is a key tech hub, producing most of the world's advanced microchips. Losing Taiwan would disrupt global trade, hitting Europe, India, and Southeast Asia. The European Union also has interests in Taiwan's stability. Even India, facing its own border tensions with China, quietly supports a peaceful, free Taiwan. Alliances crisscross the region, making any conflict a global issue. Japan's carrier, then, is not just about ships and jets. It's about protecting trade, technology, and global stability. The stakes are higher than ever. Japan's new carrier belongs to the Isumo class, some of the most advanced ships in Asia. These vessels are not as large as American supercarriers, but they are packed with technology. Their decks can launch and recover F-35B Lightning II jets, the same stealth fighters used by the US Marines and the UK. The F-35B is, honestly, a game changer. It takes off and lands vertically, so it needs less space. It can strike targets far away and is nearly invisible to radar. With these jets, Japan's carrier gains reach and punch far beyond its size. Inside, the Isumo class is built for versatility. It can carry helicopters, drones, and a full crew ready for emergencies. The ship's sensors, radars, and communication links tie it into US and allied networks, making it a key node in any regional conflict. Together, the Isumo and F-35Bs give Japan new options. They can patrol distant waters, respond quickly to crises, and help allies in need. No wonder China is watching so closely. With the Kaga at sea, Pacific strategies are changing fast. Japanese planners can now think beyond defending their home islands. They can project power, support allies, and respond to threats far away, like in the East China Sea or near Taiwan. For China, this is a headache. Beijing must now consider not just US carriers, but Japanese ones too. Any move against Taiwan, for example, risks a multi-front response. The US and Japan can coordinate, making a blockade or invasion much harder. Other countries are adjusting as well. Australia is strengthening ties with Japan. The Philippines and Vietnam are talking more about joint patrols. Even South Korea, long focused on North Korea, is recalibrating its military plans. Japan's carrier means the Pacific chessboard is more crowded and, honestly, more dangerous. Every nation must rethink its moves, knowing that new power is now on the waves. How does Japan's carrier compare to others in the region? The Isumo class is smaller than America's Nimitz and Ford-class giants. It carries fewer planes, about 12 F-35Bs instead of 60 or more. But what it lacks in size, it makes up in agility and technology. China's new carriers, like the Shandong and Fujian, are larger and growing more capable. They can carry more jets and have catapult systems for launching heavier planes. Yet, Chinese pilots have less experience at sea. Their carriers are still learning to work as a team with the rest of the Navy. Japan's strength lies in its alliances. Its carrier crews train with the US Navy and British Royal Navy. The F-35Bs on board are some of the world's best. Japanese ships are also more integrated into advanced communications networks. However, there are limits. Japan's constitution still restricts offensive operations. Its carrier is powerful, but it must tread carefully on the world stage. Still, it is a formidable force, one that China cannot ignore. For decades, Japan relied on the United States for security. Its constitution, written after World War II, kept its forces small and defensive. But times have changed. North Korean missiles fly over Japanese homes. China's navy sails near its islands. Japan's people called for a stronger shield. The new carrier marks a turning point. Japan is not just a junior partner anymore. With its own carrier and F-35Bs, it can lead in emergencies, helping to protect sea lanes, rescue citizens, and support allies. This new independence is both a challenge and a promise. America welcomes Japan's stronger role. It means less burden on US forces. But some in Washington quietly worry, will Japan always follow America's lead or start making its own decisions? In Tokyo, leaders speak of proactive peace, defending Japan, but also shaping the region. Japan's new path is not easy. It must balance old fears with new realities, but the rising sun is shining brighter, and others are taking notice. Japan's new carrier is more than a ship. It is a symbol of change, of power, risk, and hope. Across Asia, alliances are shifting, old friendships are tested, new partnerships are forming. The Pacific is no longer just a contest between China and the US. For China, the challenge is real. Every new Japanese step makes its ambitions in Taiwan and the South China Sea harder. But the risk of misunderstanding is growing. A single mistake at sea could spiral into crisis. Some hope Japan's stronger role will bring more peace. With more balance, maybe no one will dare start a fight. But others worry it could spark an arms race, making the Pacific even less stable. As the Kaga sails into the unknown, one thing is certain: the future of Asia and the Pacific will never be the same again.